Sometimes in a family enterprise, everyone knows who has the formal authority: the founder, the CEO, the board chair, the shareholder, the parent, the person whose name is on the document. On paper, authority may look clear, but in real life, authority does not always sit where structure says it sits. That is the pattern I want to name today. Authority does not always sit where you think it does. Because in enterprising families, authority is not only legal, it is also emotional, historical, relational. It is sometimes connected to sacrifice, money, age, memory, fear, loyalty, guilt, or gratitude. So a person may not hold a formal title, but everyone still waits for their reaction. A person may not be the official decision maker, but their silence changes the room. A person may not say yes or no, but their discomfort slows everything down. A person may not appear powerful on paper, but somehow nothing important moves without them. This can be confusing for the family member who notices first, because the formal structure may say one thing, but the room behaves as if something else is true. The chart may say who reports to whom. The agreement may say who owns what. The meeting agenda may say who is responsible for the decision. But behavior may reveal another kind of authority, the kind that people respond to before anything is said, the kind that people organize themselves around, the kind that does not need to announce itself because everyone already feels it. This is why a family can say, the next generation has authority now, but still wait for the founder's approval. Or a family can say, the board will decide, but everyone watches one family member's face before speaking honestly. Or a family can say, everyone has an equal voice, but one person's disappointment carries more weight than everyone else's agreement. These situations are not always intentional. Often, no one is trying to manipulate the room. No one is saying, I secretly hold authority here. But the family has a memory. The business has a memory. The relationships have a memory. And over time, people learn what is safe, what is costly, and whose reaction matters. That learning becomes part of the decision reality. So when people say, we already gave them authority, it may be true formally. But the next question is, does the room behave that way? Because authority is not only granted by title, authority is also recognized through behavior. If someone is officially responsible, but no one allows them to act, their reality may be formal but not real. If someone is not officially responsible, but everyone still seeks their approval, their authority may be informal but very real. This is where confusion begins. The family may think the problem is hesitation, or lack of confidence, or poor communication, or resistance to change. Sometimes those things are part of the picture, but sometimes the deeper issue is that authority is unclear in practice. Not unclear on paper, unclear in the room. Who can actually move this forward? Who can make others pause? Who can create permission? Who can create hesitation? Who can make the family wait, even without asking them to wait? These are not questions for blame. They are questions for awareness. Because when authority is misread, people often assign the wrong problem to the wrong person. A next gen family member may be blamed for not stepping up, but perhaps they are stepping into a space where authority was never fully transferred. A founder may be blamed for not letting go, but perhaps the family still sends every difficult question back to the said founder. A board may be blamed for not deciding, but perhaps everyone knows the real emotional consequence will come from outside the boardroom. This is why formal structure matters, but it is not enough. Titles matter, roles matter, ownership matters, governance matters, but they do not tell the whole story. The lived question is, when something important is at stake, whose presence changes the room? That person may not always be the loudest. They may not speak the most. May not even want the authority they carry. But the family may still organize around them. And until that is seen, people may keep trying to solve the wrong problem. They may create more meetings. They may clarify more roles. They may write more documents. They may ask people to communicate better. But the real issue may remain untouched. Because the real issue is not only who has authority, it is also where does the family behave as if authority lives? That is a different question. And for the family member who notices something is off, this question can open a doorway. Not to challenge someone, not to expose someone, not to prove that the formal structure is fake, but to see the difference between authority on paper and authority in practice. Because sometimes the family is not stuck because no one knows the structure. Sometimes the family is stuck because the structure says one thing, but the behavior obeys another. And once that becomes visible, the family can begin to have a more honest conversation with reality. Not only about who has the title, but about who carries influence, who creates permission, who creates hesitation, who is still being protected, who is still being waited for, and who is expected to act without the real authority to move. Authority does not always sit where you think it does. Sometimes it sits in the person everyone waits for. Sometimes it sits in the person no one wants to disappoint. Sometimes it sits in the history no one wants to disturb. And sometimes, before a family can make a real decision, it first needs to notice where authority is actually living. Because if authority is misunderstood, the decision will be misunderstood too. And what looks like delay may actually be the family waiting for permission from a place no one has named.